Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to FICCI Cascade at Space. And today, on the occasion of National Consumer Day, we'll be having a special X Space on that issue of fight against smuggled and counterfeit goods. And today with me is a very special guest, Mr. Kumar Pande, former Secretary, Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, and part of FICCI Cascade as an advisory member. Sir, you're cordially welcome to today's X Space.
Thank you, Rao Narendra.
Thank you, sir.
Good
And
evening.
we are thankful to you for taking out your precious time and joining us today for this very important discussion on fight against smuggled and counterfeit goods, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening to all the listeners. Since all of us are consumers, on the occasion of National Consumer Day 2024, I wish all the consumers a very happy day.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So listeners, starting our conversation today, the first question that I would like to ask Mr. Hem Pandey is, sir, what is the size of the illicit trade nationally and globally? And which sectors are most affected by its growth?
Concurrent with the expansion in legal trade, there has been an alarming emergence of illegal trade as well. And the estimates vary. On an average, it's around 10% of the global trade, which global trade is around 33 trillion tons at the moment. So, 3 trillion $3 trillion US dollars plus is the size of the global illicit market, which is almost of the size of India's, GDP, 3 plus trillion US dollars. That makes almost 3 to 4% of the global GDP. Global GDP at the moment stands around $100 trillion. So its magnitude is very high, and of course the subject fight against smuggled and counterfeit goods. It has to be war against smuggled and counterfeit goods, I'm very proud to be associated with FICCI Cascade, which is doing a wonderful job on this. FICCI Cascade's study has estimated the magnitude of, illicit trade, both counterfeit and smuggled. In India, the estimate is around 8 lakh crores, specifically on sectors FMCG, packaged food and personal care, alcohol, tobacco, textiles and apparel. And of course, textiles and apparel sector being the most affected by this illicit trade. Globally, of course, money laundering, transnational crime, bribery, narcotics, counterfeits, piracy, environmental crimes, human trafficking, and illegal tobacco products. This all makes, our challenge towards illicit trade. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think you have put everything in the perspective, and the magnitude of this problem is so huge. And you rightly said that we not only need a fight against smuggled and counterfeit goods, we need an out-and-out war against the kind of smuggling and counterfeiting that is happening across the globe. That brings me to the second question, sir. What are the primary dangers posed by counterfeit and smuggled goods to consumers and the broader economy?
Among many, the health and safety risks are really paramount, especially on health. It's a slow poisoning kind of thing, so it's really serious. You may not know it immediately, but gradually, the damages increase. environmental hazards, uh, economic impact, low revenue, that leads to an increase in public spending because you don't get the right product at the right time. Affects employment, and of course deprives government of revenue, and finally impact on the prices.
Yes, sir. So that's a multifaceted issue. If I very specifically come to the issue of consumer health and safety, sir, how does the spread of counterfeit and smuggled products impact consumer health and safety? And if you could also share some real world examples of these kind of risks.
The counterfeit products, especially medicines, uh, you know, uh, impacts consumers significantly, exposing individuals to harmful substances, incorrect dosage in medications, faulty product components, ingredients might be, and other hazards. Uh, Among the real world examples, fake malaria drugs in developing countries, contaminated baby formula, and so on and so forth. Uh, Despite we'll come to that, the how one is handling this, but uh, the amount of malpractices that go in the whole system, it's a huge challenge for a consumer to discern, so health, safety angle is very important. As you know, there are uh, the Consumer Protection Act, that 2019 Consumer uh, Protection Act in India has further fine-tuned consumer rights. The first right is right to safety. So counterfeits and smuggled counterfeits really endanger the health of a consumer. And most of the consumers unwillingly, and they're not aware of the things, and they consume these medicines.
Absolutely, sir. And in a way, what you have highlighted is that, counterfeit goods and smuggled goods, they directly and indirectly have negative impacts and very detrimental impact on millions of people across the globe. And this is spread over multiple sectors as well. And so that brings to me to another logical question that, when such a large number of consumers are getting affected by smuggled goods, what steps can consumers take to protect themselves from purchasing counterfeit or smuggled goods?
Well, not only the health aspect, I forgot to mention the automobile parts also, that those lead to the fake automobile parts, accessories, that also causes immense safety risks to a consumer. And well, consumers uh, can protect themselves, uh, uh, you know, if a consumer is unsure whether a product is legitimate or fake, they must look out for the price first. The prices of fakes and legitimate goods vary greatly. There's a huge difference between a price of a legitimate good and illegitimate good. If the price of a product appears too good to be true, means the quality is compromised. Uh, First thing, consumer has to be very, of course, all the consumer laws, from the days of beware consumer. We are now coming to the beware seller age also. But ultimately, the onus is on the consumer. Today, National Consumer Day was observed by Government of India. There also, there was huge talk on health washing, about misleading advertisement, labeling, and claims on health products. So, I hope celebrating uh, National Consumer Day on 24th December, uh, World Consumer Day on 15th March, uh, across the globe. We don't get into
Sir, if you can unmute yourself.
all of us are consumers in our own right, and we must be very very concerned, very very aware of avoiding counterfeits and smuggled goods. So, I mean, if consumers can unite, the best thing for the consumer is to totally boycott, say no to counterfeits, say no to smuggled goods. But how does one know what is a counterfeit and what is a smuggled good? So that remains a challenge. Consumers can do one favor to other consumers if they are slightly suspicious of these kind of fake goods. They must report. They must convey to the fellow consumers, and also use the national helpline. We have a national helpline in the consumer department with the number 1915. Hope information about uh, a fake good being sold, being used, spreads, and consumers become aware. So ultimately, it's a united consumer who can really, an aware consumer who can really, take part in this national movement. And among many duties of the consumer that are listed in uh, uh, in the Consumer Protection Act. Number one is duty to be aware, duty to stay informed, to follow the rules, to receive a receipt of the transaction, to be vocal. Consumers have to be vocal if some wrongdoing is being done. They need to form an organization. Voluntary consumer organizations are there. They have to be more active. All consumers must participate, must lend their voice. If one gets cheated, they must tell all that this is what is being wrong, and a consumer has to be ethical also. Many a times a consumer blames seller. I mean, it's a two-way traffic. Just blaming somebody is not enough. So uh, one has to be very very careful. But if one faces fake goods, buys fake good, one should spread among all the consumers. And consumers also have to be careful for using resource sustainably. So the throwaway culture is spreading in a big way. So we have to be very very careful to ensure that we buy only the thing that we need, and use it sustainably. And of course, one has to be very responsible towards environment. Uh, this throwaway culture must go. Of course, these are other issues which, but part of the duty of a consumer, because
Absolutely.
the consumer has six rights, as all of us know. But along with rights, I mean, there are no free lunch. Along with rights, the duties I just told, uh, and the six rights that the consumers in India uh, have obtained through Consumer Protection Act. India was one of the first country in 1986 to bring Consumer Protection Act in 1986, when United Nations wanted all the countries to have consumer protection as a national policy. So India was one of the first countries in 1986 to bring, and that is this act in 1986 got approval of the government on 24th of December 1986. That's where we observe National Consumer Day. The act.
Yes, sir.
We have a new act now, more comprehensive. Whatever was in 1986, things, technology was not there. There were many things, which were not there in 86. The 2019 Consumer Protection Act has addressed almost all the developments that took place in between. It is very comprehensive. It addresses, of course, the 1986 Act was also amended in 91, 93, 2002, but ultimately there was a felt need to have a new act with the changing, global scenario, national scenario on consumer protection. So the 2019 Act is very comprehensive, and it gives 6 rights to the consumer: right to safety. Consumers should be protected from marketing of hazardous goods and services. Right to choose. Consumers should have the freedom to choose between goods and services at competitive rates. Right to be informed. Consumers should be provided with information about the quality, price, purity, potency, uses, and date of manufacture or expiry of the product that one buys. A right to consumer education, that was in the 86 Act. Now it has been amended and reworded as right to consumer awareness. So consumers should have right skill, knowledge, and discernibility about the product one buys. And of course, the 5th right is right to be heard. Consumers should have their voice heard by the seller, by the manufacturer, by the government of the day. And finally, consumer has the right to seek redressal. Consumer should be, redressal of the grievance, the transaction as a consumer that one has got. If there is any deficiency, any lacuna, that should be redressed. I mean, these are the 6 rights of the consumer. Ultimately, consumers have to be united. Government of India's multimedia campaign, Jago Grahak Jago,
Yes.
awaken
Very
consumer.
popular campaign, sir. Yes, very popular campaign.
It's becoming quite popular.
Yeah.
It is popular, and of course, it's a high time the sellers also get, awakened. They should also say no to selling fake and smuggled goods.
Absolutely.
If both of us, the consumer and seller, come together, industry comes together, it will be an easier job for enforcement agencies to catch hold of the guys, people who, I mean, they are also the people who manufacture fake goods are also consumers. So they should realize that, all of us, all human beings, all of us are consumers. So
absolutely.
why do things that are not good, be it in agriculture, the ag mark, or ISI mark, hallmark. I mean, this is what the consumers should demand.
Absolutely. No, sir,
So,
thank you so
so
much.
it's a huge role.
You have given us a very comprehensive set of information and taking us from right from 1986 when when India became the first country, to adopt this new law, and till 2019 several amendments have also taken place, and today the law provides a lot more, rights and responsibilities to consumers. And I think the consumer also has been empowered, as you've just enumerated, the six, rights that have been given to the consumers. So consumer also feel more empowered now with these legislations and these changes that have been done in the law. So that's very interesting set of information, sir. And I think definitely it's a joint responsibility of both consumers and the sellers to fight against counterfeit and smuggled goods. So that brings me to the role of technology. How can consumers use technology, because now e-commerce, everyone is buying a lot of products online, and we have on a daily basis we are interacting with different kind of technology. So how technology can help consumers to identify, or sellers also to identify and combat counterfeit and smuggled products in both online and physical markets?
Yeah, it's a very interesting area, and technology is dynamic, changing almost on a regular basis, and so are the counterfeiters. Those who trade on counterfeits. They also are making use of the technology. Yes, as you said, technology can be used, and it is being used, like unique product identifiers, QR codes, RFID tags, radio frequency identification, holograms, security inks, blockchain technology, AI powered image analysis, online monitoring tools. This is all being done. Yet, yet there's a long way to go. As I said, the counterfeiters, uh, smugglers, we have started hearing about fake barcodes, fake RFD tags, so there also the fakes are coming. So it's a huge challenge, and that is where the role of government and law enforcement agencies come. It has to be a concerted effort. What we have seen is we all work in silos. Our enforcement agencies, uh, they are doing their bit, but lot more has to be done. We need to be one step ahead of the people who engage in illicit trade. Uh, be it technology, because hearing about fake barcodes, uh, and that's where the consumer also has to play a big role. RFID, the radio frequency identification, has become much cheaper today. It started in 1940. It was being used, but it's being used more frequently now, because it has become very cheap. So it's cost effective. Industry must come out with advanced technologies which will ensure that those who engage in illicit trade do not get an upper hand. They do not get an upper hand. Otherwise, fake RFIDs, barcodes, it's causing immense problems. QR codes, fake QR codes are there, and these illicit market people, they are always ahead of the enforcement agencies or the industry. uh, Industry, I am told, I have been given to understand, they are taking steps because they have to protect their brand, they have to be in the marketplace. ultimately, if fakes of a particular brand are there in the market, so it spoils their brand image. So they need to come out. They need to unite. Industries must come out in a big way in remaining ahead of those who engage in illicit trade.
Absolutely. Sir, you have just touched upon the role of law enforcement agencies. If you can also shed more light, how the government and law enforcement agencies, they can do more to strengthen efforts against the smuggling and sale of counterfeit goods in local markets.
See, first thing, work together. There are multiple agencies. There are talks of coordination, but I think we do not walk the talk. We rarely do that. You know, it will always remain a work in progress. And how long, I really don't know, because technology is changing very fast. Artificial intelligence is there, the tools are there, but again, though, even illicit people who engage in illicit trade, they also lay their hands on those. So we have to be very, very careful in coordination and objective decision making. Regulatory decision making has to be very quick. Those who are caught, they must be given this, a punishment that they will not come back. Unfortunately, our system of penalizing a wrongdoer is very, very slow in all aspects. So ultimately, there we need to fund law enforcement, better legislation. Awareness building is a constant process, work in progress. Working with private companies, industry associations, forming working groups. So it has to be a constant effort so that the wrongdoer must be punished, and the punishment should be very, very visible. In one of our discussions in FICCI Cascade, I was trying to propose, we have Central Industry Security Force, CISF. In the similar lines, we can think of a Central Intellectual Property Security Force, CIPSF. And it could be a combination, industry and government coming together and funding it through a corpus fund. So this, if ultimately what it needs is all nationally, internationally, all enforcement agencies must come together and ensure that the wrongdoers are caught and brought to the justice, and they are given the kind of punishment that they will never ever do the same illegal job again and again.
Again. No, sir, very rightly said. Given the magnitude of this problem, I think your suggestion of establishing a dedicated force like CIPSF, it's a very interesting and innovative idea, and I think the government must take note of it, because the problem is actually directly and indirectly affecting millions of people, and we need to have stringent efforts to counter these smuggled and counterfeit goods that are coming into the market, both online and offline. Audience, we'll be taking up questions shortly for Mr. Hem Pande. If you have any questions, do send me requests for speaking, and I'll make you join and ask your question in a very short period of time from now. Sir, coming back to you, how do you see the role of FICCI Cascade, and how is FICCI Cascade contributing to the fight against counterfeit and smuggled goods, and what impact has its work had so far?
Yeah, in fact, I'm indeed proud to be associated with FICCI Cascade. When I was Consumer Affairs Secretary in Government of India in 2016 and 17, I had the fortune of very closely working with FICCI Cascade, and now I am part of the think tank that it has. And I must tell you, FICCI Cascade is doing a wonderful job in making, the one right of the consumer, the consumer awareness. I think FICCI Cascade has left no stone unturned for doing this, and all the think tank members are so seriously engaged in this. Uh, uh, and every year through an annual event, masquerade, FICCI Cascade brings the global best practices in curbing illicit trade, the nasal best practices. Uh, Throughout the country, awareness campaign is being created, and uh, you know. The enforcement agencies who are doing excellent work within the limits they work, they are being rewarded. Children, schools are being encouraged, to make them aware about the consumer rights, consumer duties. Uh, it's I really salute FICCI Cascade for doing this wonderful work. As a consumer, I'm very proud that the work that FICCI Cascade is doing, and it's along with a huge challenge. Challenges are immense. Yet churning, the required amount of churning is being done by FICCI Cascade. I wish uh, every province in our country has something like this to take it forward, and ultimately it goes to the district level, where the district commission, state commission, national commission, the three-tier government structure works in parallel with the industry associations, and does the awareness. Ultimately, an educated, empowered consumer will make the change. Enforcement, governments can consumers. It's very difficult for the consumers to be united. Even if one makes some noise about the MRP, about the date of expiry and all, one doesn't get support from the fellow consumer at a shop. I have this habit of checking the price, checking the date of expiry, date of manufacture. Uh, at times I see the fellow consumers, they look towards me as if I'm doing something which normally shouldn't be done. Consumer awareness is very, very important. Consumer must ask questions, must test, see the quality and quantity of the product. And if the product is very cheap, and of course, India is such a huge country, the urban consumer and rural consumer, there's a huge divide. So the challenges are immense, but really, FICCI Cascade, I really am very proud of FICCI Cascade's work. FICCI Cascade not only does, at the national level, the various acts, FICCI Cascade has gone down to the sub-national level also, and even at the district level. FICCI Cascade has observes Anti-Smuggling Day every year on February 11th, Counterfeiting Day on 8th June, and of course, World Consumer Day on 15th March. So So, 3 cheers for FICCI Cascade.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your kind words. And you rightly said, an aware, empowered, and responsible citizen and consumers, that's what we need to fight this battle against smuggled and counterfeit goods. Sir, we'll take up some questions now from our listeners. And our first listener is who wants to ask a question is Sarthak. Sarthak, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
गुड इवनिंग सर। हेम पांडे जी सर, गुड इवनिंग सर। सर मेरा नाम सार्थक है सर, मैं हैदराबाद में रहता हूँ और मैं फिकी के इंस्टाग्राम पे वीडियोस देखकर मुझे उनको फॉलो किया, फिर मैं ट्विटर स्पेस का ऐसा कुछ होता है मुझे पता चला तो मैं आया। ये मेरा पहला सेशन है जो मैं अटेंड कर रहा हूँ और मैं आपकी बड़ी देर से बात सुन रहा हूँ सर। सर मेरा एक आसान भाषा में क्वेश्चन ये है सर कि एक जगह अवेयरनेस कैंपेन चलाती है कि स्मगल्ड एंड काउंटरफीट प्रोडक्ट्स के बारे में कि वो कितने डेडली है, कितने घातक है, और दूसरी जगह पे सर मेरे हैदराबाद में सर बहुत सारी ऐसी मार्केट है जहाँ पे ना मेरे को बहुत सस्ता सामान मिलता है। लाइक वो स्मगल्ड भी होता है और कुछ काउंटरफीटेड भी होता है और बहुत इजीली मिलता है। और मेरे काफी फ्रेंड्स मुंबई में रहते हैं, दिल्ली में रहते हैं, वो मुझे बताते हैं कि उनके सिटीज में भी इस तरीके की मार्केट्स है। तो इस फिर कुछ ऐसा कुछ क्यों नहीं है कि अगर पता है जबकि वो खराब है तो फिर वो बिकने भी दे रहे हैं और दूसरी तरफ हम अवेयरनेस भी चला रहे हैं? तो ये समझ नहीं आता सर।
यही तो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। दिस इज आवर प्रेडिकमेंट, दैट्स व्हाई मैंने जो कहा कि कंज्यूमर्स मस्ट बॉयकॉट these fake products and smuggled goods. बहुत कहना आसान है, it's easier said than done, the price, but ultimately long term harm, वो कहते हैं ना सस्ता रोए बार बार, तो वो तो होता है। but you are right, we are flooded with these kind of cheap imitations, pass offs, it's there. I think ultimately कंज्यूमर को जो है होशियार होना पड़ेगा, और कंज्यूमर लॉ बने हैं जिसमें मैंने पहले भी कहा कि कंज्यूमर तो होशियार हो, लेट द बायर बी बिवेयर। ये पहले दिस वाज द थिंग, नाउ वो कहते हैं कैविएट एम्प्टर से कैविएट वेंडिटर, लेट द सेलर बी बिवेयर। तो बेचने वालों को भी सावधान होना पड़ेगा, because seller also is a consumer. They also buy fake medicines, fake food, or spurious items. So if all sellers also behave, become, think, reflect, but एक ह्यूमन ग्रीड का शायद कोई इलाज है कि नहीं, वी ह्यूमंस ओनली हैव टू डिसाइड।
सर एक्चुअली ना मुझे ये था कि मैं ना गौशा महल के पास रहता हूँ हैदराबाद में, तो यहाँ पे ना एक सुल्तान वेयर हाउस है, तो वहां पे ना प्रोडक्ट सच में इतना सस्ता मिलता है और ऐसा मिलता है कि ना मतलब अगर वो काउंटरफीटेड भी है ना और वो अगर कंज्यूमर को इतना इजीली मिल रहा है तो मुझे नहीं लगता सर।
आपका कोई सजेशन है इस बारे में?
नहीं सर, मेरे को ये है कि अगर वो चीज बैन है, मतलब अगर वो गलत है, अगर सबको पता है कि वो इतना बड़ा सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट है, इतना सब कुछ, तो उसको गवर्नमेंट अलाउ क्यों कर रही है वो मार्केट लगाने के लिए? कि मतलब वो मार्केट लगा के लोग, अगर आपको लोगों को थाली में परोस के देंगे सर, तो लोग आजकल की इतनी महंगाई के टाइम पे कौन सोचेगा कि वो काउंट कितना घातक है? वो तो सोचेगा ना अगर मुझे जीन्स मिल रही है 200 रुपए में, 100 रुपए में, तो मैं वो ले लेता हूँ ना, 2 बार 4 बार धोने के बाद तो वैसे भी खराब हो जाएगी। और सर्दियां तो वैसे छोटी होती है सर, 2 महीने के लिए कौन सोचेगा कि 5,000 की जैकेट ले जब उसको 1,000 या 500 में मिल रही है? तो
ये तो बात है। तो या तो प्रोडक्ट्स के रेट में सोचना पड़ेगा, या कंज्यूमर्स को यूनाइट होना पड़ेगा, और या कम में चलाना पड़ेगा। जो थ्रो अवे कल्चर है, आजकल हम 10 तरह की ड्रेस खरीद लेते हैं भी, और एपरल और ये पर्सनल कॉस्मेटिक्स में तो बहुत ज्यादा फेक हैं। एंड अब हम एक ही पैंट से काम चलाएं या हर दिन नई 10 पहने, तो दैट फिर इकोनॉमी इसमें देयर इज नो एंड टू दिस। यस, Kabhi, enforcement agencies, I think they act, but again they come because ultimately buyers are there. So consumer awareness is very important. Uh, as I said, World Trade Card 10% is on fake, which impacts each one of us. We must reflect and realize that this is harming the society in general. ये एक की बात नहीं है. We should not become individuals while thinking while demanding our rights. We should be united in our rights. We should be united in our duties as a consumer. The
Yes.
seller भी behave करेंगे because sellers are also consumers, and so on and so forth.
No, sir, you're right.
And of
It becomes
course,
a cyclical process when there is a demand for counterfeit goods because they have people. Then,
governments and
yeah.
enforcement agencies and the law enforcers, they must ensure that the distributors, sellers of fake products are penalized heavily.
Absolutely.
मतलब वो जो है दोबारा बाजार में ना आ पाए, ऐसा कुछ करना चाहिए. सिर्फ एक दिन नेशनल कंज्यूमर डे मनाने से नहीं होगा, कंज्यूमर वॉशिंग से नहीं होगा. I think we all have to. FICCI CASCADE अकेला लगा रहेगा ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Everybody, all industry, everybody should come forward.
It needs concerted efforts. Sir, that brings us to our second listener. I would request Saundarya to ask her question.
Hi, sir. You spoke about various rights, the consumers have got for against counterfeits and all. So let's just say there is a consumer who is against counterfeit and wants to avail a right. So how can they protect their rights? And if they want to protect their rights, how fast are they going to get a solution?
Yeah, that's the delivery mechanism is very slow, of course. Majority of us do not complain, so so all of us should complain, number one. Number two, the inbuilt system, the seller of good must listen. Here, there's among the 6 rights, the right to hear. The grievance of the consumer must be heard and addressed. Which of course now things are improving, but not to the satisfaction of one and all, because as I kept on saying that consumers must unite. There is the consumer movement in India is at its infancy since time immemorial. Though we have consumer protection from about 2,500 years back also, when we have our scriptures and all, if you look at that. But unfortunately, we become individuals when it comes to demand justice for all. So that's where we have to be very, very careful. For the redressal, the 3-tier system that Consumer Protection Act of 2019 and earlier act also, that needs to be strengthened. This redressal, grievance redressal of the consumer that was taken out from the regular courts in the country was to ensure that the grievance redressal is as fast as possible. I am of the view that there should not, in the first hearing itself, the grievance should be decided. At best, 2 hearings. There should not be 3rd hearing of a grievance of a consumer if this redressal grievance system has to, the consumer's 6th right has. So consumers obviously will feel encouraged to complain and get their grievance addressed. If there is a sense of despondency that even if I complain, nothing is going to happen. So that is where on a National Consumer Day, Government of India in particular should come forward and ensure that the 3-tier system works as fast as possible.
Absolutely. So if I summarize, sir, what you have just said, the grievance redressal system needs to be overhauled and made more responsive to the complaints that are coming from the ground. That brings us to the end of this program. Listeners, as Mr. Hem Pandey had highlighted, 1915 is the helpline. If you want to lodge a complaint against any kind of counterfeit or smuggled goods, please avail this helpline. And let's try to become more aware and responsible
And
consumers
united, but
and
aware,
united consumers. Absolutely, sir.
united. If a consumer is, at least venting, saying that this is wrong, this is fake, this is, why are you selling so cheap? You have, barcodes. Barcodes are being, destroyed, or a fake barcodes are coming, fake RFID. So the educated, aware consumer should come forward, and others who are also consumers should unite, come together. Otherwise, it's the safety, health-wise or otherwise, is really in peril. So on a National Consumer Day, let's let this day be every day, because we buy things every day. People sell fakes every day. So let's unite as a consumer. We are consumer first. Rest will follow. So safety of
Absolutely. So
consumer.
that's, as
Thank
Sir
you.
said, let's unite as consumers, because that will give us an upper hand against the counterfeit and smuggled goods. Thank you so much, Sir, for taking out your precious time and giving us this comprehensive set of information, how to fight against smuggled and counterfeit goods, and as consumers, how we can play a very important role in not only fighting these smuggled goods, but also saving our economy and also health of millions of people. So that was a very informative talk today. And listeners, hope you enjoyed today's discussion. And we'll be soon back with yet another X Space through FICCI Cascade. Sir, thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Naren.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.